Like starting. Hi, everybody. We are back. We are live. It did a ding. Hi, Paula.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome back. Thanks for watching. Our special guest this week is Paula Rhodes. And I met Paula, I guess it was like a month ago. I don't know. You lose track of time. When I was out in Las Vegas for the IAW TV Awards. And this show, this whatever this is, was actually nominated for Best Live Series. We were surprised. So we're out there, and Paula is the star of a great show called The New Adventures of Peter and Wendy, which was nominated for a zillion awards and won some of them. And
we had 3. Yeah, it was awesome. And won 2 of them. So it was a really fun night. But like you said, yeah, we had like pregnancy radar. We were like, oh, hey.
Yeah, totally.
The person.
It was the weirdest place to be, like on the red carpet where everybody's young and beautiful and they're doing, you know, the stance, you know, they do like the stance and they show their dress and their body. And I just got feeling like I had to touch my belly to be like, this is a baby, I'm not fat. Did you?
Yeah, to touch it. But I know some of those photographers from other red carpet things for the web, and they literally like, Paula, put your hand on your belly so we know it's a baby. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
That's the tip. You don't want to look like the bloated girl on the red carpet.
Just a burrito, guys. Just a 6-month burrito.
Right. Which is what it really feels like for much of pregnancy. Wouldn't you agree?
I've been joking that it feels like I ate way too much at a Vegas buffet that kicks.
Yeah. Buffet food. Totally.
Yeah, really. Oh. I can't really come down from my shoes. Yeah, it's really awesome. Yeah. But it's, I can't complain. I've had a pretty easy pregnancy as far as I hear so far. So I'm really hoping that continues.
Yeah, we're hoping for you. What's your due date?
September 4th. But I have a feeling it might be earlier just because, I don't know. Something about their math when they tell you, like, they were conceived around this time. I'm like, positive it wasn't that week. Pretty sure it wasn't. Nope. So I think it's going to be.
Okay. I think we should like start a betting pool.
Yeah,
I had a similar experience with my doctor because at my first ultrasound, like all these doctors and nurses came swooshing in and they're like, I think you got your dates wrong. This baby is too big. And they start going over the calendar with me, and they're like, when was your last menstrual period, whatever. And you tell them. And they're saying, no, that's impossible. You're wrong.
Right.
And I had to actually say, no, my husband travels like 85% of the time. He's only home 3 or 4 days a week. Yeah. I have an app of when it happens, and I know because of my husband's schedule. And anyway,
I would have no clue if it weren't for the darn apps. Let's be honest. Wasn't something I kept track of for the most part up until we were like, let's have a baby. And I was like, well, look at this app that does things and keeps track of embarrassing information. Fantastic.
I know. Whoever thought you would need an app to keep track of having sex? I think it's going to come in handy later, too.
Probably. And well, it's come in handy in a few arguments every now and then. If they ever bring up anything like, oh, we haven't had sex in so long. You're like, actually,
yeah. I did that between kids when I wasn't even trying to conceive. I just kept doing the app for that very reason. So I could like prove to my husband that it hadn't been a month since we had sex.
Oh no. It was a surprise for us though. We'd actually had I love science. I love me some science, but they failed us a little bit in that they told us that we would definitely need scientific help to have kids after like a year, 2 years of trying. And we're like, okay, all right, so fine. So we go in for all the like invasive tests on me, and they gave you a pregnancy test before you start all that stuff, just I guess, stay in the call. And they were like, oh, actually, you don't need our help. You're already pregnant. We're like, come in. But you said that, can we take that
awesome.
back? Yeah, it was great, but it was sort of like finding out that, oh, we're about to start this roller coaster and finding out you're already at the top of the hill about to go down. You're like, oh, okay.
It's a totally different roller coaster.
Doing that then.
Yeah. So we try to come up with a theme every week. And so since you play the character of a grown-up Wendy darling, I thought we could talk about how you may or may not feel more grown up now that you are knocked up.
Right? And yes, I should clarify for fans, it's not a spoiler for season 2 because we literally found out post shooting season 2, so not a spoiler. Right. Should have been a spoiler.
Paula is pregnant, not Wendy.
Wendy's not pregnant yet. We did a dark turn for season 3, getting all crazy up in there. But yeah, it feels terrifying. I mean, there are definitely parts of it that I'm very well aware that I'm not ready for, and I think I knew for a long time I will never be ready for, which is probably why we waited a while, quite a while, before even trying, just because I love my life. I love being able to be an actor and the freedom that kind of requires sometimes. Yeah. And I love sleeping in so much.
Oh, again.
I don't know. There were so many things that, having worked with kids a lot as a thrival job on the side, nannying and things over the years, I was well aware that those things don't necessarily go together with parenthood. And so, yeah, there were a lot of like pushbacks. So like, we'd come right up to the edge of the table and be like, we should have a baby. And then be like, no, actually, never mind. That's not for us. Like, finding that grown-up-ishness. So yeah, I'm still a little scared about that. But when I actually look at my age on my driver's license, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm grown up.
Yeah.
Or see, like we were talking about Facebook friends, seeing how very grown up they are and how their kids are taller than me now sometimes, and just, oh golly.
Yeah. Like we have friends who had a kid at 18 and then their kid had a kid. And so now they're our age, but they're grandparents.
Yeah, that's eye-opening.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm like, well, maybe
myself
like maybe their kids can watch our kid. Is that a thing?
I'm totally doing that. I always do that. Yeah. So one of my friends' kids can watch my kid. It's good. Yeah. Your whole life becomes about who can watch your kid, by the way.
Oh boy. Okay. I've been the watcher of the cat kids. So yes, I can see how that could happen. My husband's terribly optimistic on how this works, and I love him for it, but I'm nervous for him because he'll say like, oh, it's not that hard to have a kid ball. People do this all the time, like dumber people than us. I'm like, this is true. I don't know if they're actors, but right. He said something about like, oh, well, we can just bring him with us to auditions. I'm like, really? You're gonna bring a baby to an audition? Where are you gonna put them when you go into the room? And he's like, well, you just leave them in the waiting room. I'm like, nope. They have to be old enough to be like, hey, you're not my mom, stranger that's stealing me, before you can do that. And then he's like, well, then I'll just bring them in with me. I'm like, and if they cry the whole time, what then? And he's like, well, then they'll probably just feel sorry for me and give me the part. I'm like,
no.
I really hate that it's almost sort of true for him, though. Like, for me, they'd be like, kid under control. And for Charlie, they'd be like, oh, poor dad. Oh, he probably needs this job. We should give it to him because he books every commercial anyway. So it's fine.
Yeah, I feel like a man would get more sympathy in that situation. I've been in that situation, and it's awful.
Yeah. No.
So, once in a while you have no choice and you bring the baby to the audition, and casting directors don't like that so much.
No, not at all, from what I hear. Is it something where there might be a niche market here, although it sounds sort of creepy, where maybe somebody has like, and maybe not this, but a van without windows, but they park outside of like 200 South La Brea or some casting office that gets a lot of run, and they just let actors drop off kids for half an hour to an hour, and you just pay incrementally, and they have like video games and toys in the van, and probably someone with a mustache running it or something.
That would be a great business.
Yeah, you just pick up your kid on the way. Like check them in, like coat check.
Yeah, it's like a coat check for babies.
Could we do that? Is that a thing? Looking for investors.
Do that. Totally.
I imagine it to be a pickle, but yeah.
So
yeah, how do you do with it? Are there secrets to
it's just
juggling?
figuring out as you go along. Like I've had friends meet me outside an audition and walk the kid around the block. Anything you can find. But that is a big part of it, like realizing your life is never fully your own now, especially if you're the primary caregiver. Like you can't ever just say, yeah, I can do X, Y, and Z. You have to make sure there's all these plans in place before you do it.
Yeah, that's the scary. Growing up, like, oh gosh, that sounds like so much more effort, and I already feel like I'm putting in so much effort. Yeah.
I know. I don't mean to scare you. It's all awesome and wonderful most of the time. I've heard a lot of people say like that first night in the hospital, they feel like they're being trusted to be a grown-up and they're not sure they're ready, you know?
Yeah. My mom even said something like that. Like, aren't they going to test us? Like, they're just going to let us walk out of here with this baby? Like, we don't know what we're doing. Yeah. We probably should, as a culture, test people with their babies before they leave.
That's another business that would be great. You get your certification.
You can feed them and, change them. And, basic baby care. Yeah, and then you get your baby license.
Right. You have a car seat to leave the hospital. So if you could also require a baby license to leave the hospital.
You can just be posted right on the car seat, like restaurants in the window.
Totally. You could get a rating like at restaurants. A, B, or C.
It's embarrassing. It's like baby mama shaming. If you're like, I know it's a B rating, but whatever. I'm going to go back. I'm going to get it.
I think I would have passed that certification if I had to take it. It's all by fire.
Okay. Did you take birthing classes or any of those leading up to your first one?
No. So,
okay.
I know a lot of my friends did like home births or took hypnobirthing, and they had doulas and all this stuff. So I knew I wanted drugs. Yeah. I was like, I know that I would like drugs.
Yes.
But we were just so, like, my husband was always away, so there was no time we could go to the class, and we were broke at the time. And the class was like $450. So, yeah. I don't know. So anyway, we got these DVDs that were like a 1970s birth class.
Perfect. That's all you need.
Great. I learned some breathing techniques, and we watched the DVDs, and you know what? It was fine. I think especially if you're an actor or somebody that, like, you've learned how to relax and do, like, breathing exercises and crap like that.
A lot of people on ER have babies and things. I saw, like, entire seasons of Called Midwife, so pretty.
Yeah, definitely. Watch Called the Midwife, ER, Baby Story. Watch all those things.
And it's always done within a half hour to an hour, so I'm good with that. Wait, no.
Yeah. That's the worst part of those shows. They make you think that the whole process is a half an hour long.
Yeah, I wish it were. Yeah, and then my doctor actually said, I asked her about classes just because I'm like, I've always thought that I would just have to have a C-section because I'm bitty and because my mom did and was told like, oh, you'll die if you try to have regular birth. And my sister ended up with a C-section, and every other girl I know so far that's had a baby in the 5'2" and under club, we are 8-0 on C-sections. Wow. So I'm like, wow. I love schedules, fine, let's just go in and rock this thing. And then my OB tells me, yeah, no, you can't just have one. You have to like have a reason for one. So you have to go through labor first and then I'm like, no, hold on. I know they're hard. C-sections are hard from what I hear. I don't want to go through both, the worst of both worlds. Just pick one and I'll try to focus on that. And then she's like, no, I'm sorry. I'm like, oh, this is the worst news. And then I asked her, okay, well, what class?
In LA, there were like doctors you could go to that would schedule your C-section and your tummy tuck at the same time.
There are at Cedars-Sinai. I don't think my insurance covers that.
Darn.
I know, right? But yeah, I mean, and they do it at 8 months, which is not good for the babies, obviously. But yay, Hollywood. Yay, Vanity. Yeah.
Yeah.
So apparently I have to just prepare for both, the worst of both. And she said to not take classes. I'm like, well, but I love being informed. So I think we're just going to watch like a crazy ton of YouTube videos.
There are some really crazy YouTube videos of women giving birth in the wild.
You see the one in the kitchen? German lady with her 5th kid that's just like, I'm just gonna stand up in the kitchen. There we go. Hey.
Baby out, make some more dumplings. She's like, I'm good.
It was amazing. But she's like, okay, here we go. And I'll rip the umbilical cord with my teeth. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, wow, don't expect that from me.
No. Definitely not for a first baby or a 5'2" tall woman.
No.
Well, speaking of having a baby in the hospital, every week on the show we have a giveaway. So I want to tell you about our giveaway this week is really cool. It's a labor gown from Milk and Baby, so you don't have to wear the ugly, scratchy hospital gown thing.
Wait, so that's a thing? People actually have like fancy gowns? Like
yes.
Dresses?
And with my first son, I wanted one, but I couldn't quite afford one again because we were poor actors. But Milk and Baby sent me one to review, and it's awesome. I have a review about it on the blog, and we're giving one away. You can enter below the video. There's an entering giveaway thingy. But another cool thing about it is it can also be a maternity dress and a nursing dress, and I happen to be wearing it. So I'll show you.
Yes,
So
please.
see? It's like
an
in
actual
the back, it's like a hospital gown. I don't know if you can see. Well, it has the buttons in the back, but they're covered, so it can be a regular dress or a hospital dress.
Holy cow.
You gotta get one. It's so comfy and awesome.
That's great. We briefly touched on us looking for dresses for the red carpet, and that was a pickle because you know what? They don't make kid-size maternity wear. Go figure. So, but yeah, I had a horrible time. I kept ordering like extra small maternity dresses from sites to try them on, and they'd come and they'd be tense on me, and I was like, this is just gonna be ridiculous. So I ended up finding a dress that it just wasn't a maternity dress. It was just stretchy, and I was like, well, then we're just rocking the bump. Let's try this thing.
Totally. I believe in fully exposing and rocking the bump, not wearing like a tent, especially on the red carpet.
Yes. I tell you what, though, there's a couple business ideas for people. Children-sized maternity wear for small adults, not kids necessarily. And,
well, it could be for some girls that have made a mistake and need better guidance.
Right. And, or, you know, there's a lot of the world that are small. I'm most of Asia. There's a market. And then, the van down by the audition studio.
Right.
That watches children.
Yeah, and then, wait, we had one other idea. What was the other one? The van.
Yeah, we're gold. People should really write this down and file it.
This is really a business webcast.
That's
This is a webcast for entrepreneurs.
Prego brains for the win.
Idiotic entrepreneurs. Well, we're almost up on our time. It's so fun talking to you. I can't wait to see what happens with the new adventures of Peter and Wendy and the actual bump that you have there.
Oh, thank you. Me too. And big news on Peter and Wendy coming in the next week or so, announcing the date for season 2's release and some really cool casting announcements that people have been waiting for. So, stay
Very
tuned.
exciting. Okay. Well, thanks for being with us, and wishing you a ton of luck with everything.
Thank you so much. You too.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
And